Danse, Dale McQuarrie de Shinnikashon, Pia Michifnia, Hazelton BC Noshchi, Maga Maparanti, Alberta Ushchiwak. Egwa, Omakashi Pishwayan, Talanganan Michifish Nikateo, Pia Tit Gashkatanchi Pishwayan. Mashku Jizampa Sinki Tohten, Gito Tohten Manitoba, Camperville, and that we get Grace, P. Brandon, Temina. Pi gishkamashoyan titame chichipishwayan. Marcindetwan, Grace, Rabbit, Verna, Norman, Mayatish, Kodakaklimod, Kagiwichi got Egwa noch tipish kwanapshish por kegwachushtayan, Poroma, Kashipishwayak. Atin gikak wich namawak limod, Amichipishwayachik, Magang sketen. Moja gashketan oma peagochi ustaja. Moja Norman gashketau oma peago peak chiustat. Sapram mischetle mod oma chiusta toske chek chiusta chek oma oma ka chiustayak oma chiustayak. Pi kachkiauki wauta ja kigipe tohta wow ota chitashtamak kikwachushtayak. My name's Dale McCreary. I'm a Michif from Hazelton, British Columbia, and about 10 years ago already I had the opportunity to go to Manitoba and learn to speak Michif. And in here we're here today talking about what has to be done to make sure that this language survives us, and I have a few things that I think need to be said. Since that time I spent learning Michif, I've been asked by other nations closer to where I live to take the experience that I had doing that and to apply it to their situations. I've done that in Klemtu, where they only had one speaker left. And I've done that in Bella Coola, and I'm currently doing that. I've been 5 years here working to figure out exactly what is needed to actually ensure that the language does not die when our last fluent speaking elder passes away. And I've seen a lot of things, and I spent these last 10 years basically studying what other people are doing, what is working for other people, what is working for other nations, and most importantly, what is not working. So here's a couple things to say. First, what is the need? I mean, the need is very clear. At the most basic level, we need to either have children who are learning the language as children fluently, and I don't mean in school, I mean from their parents, from their grandparents being raised in the language, or we have to have young people learning the language who are going to have children and then raise them speaking fluently. In order to achieve this, we have to have young people spending several hours a day with elders who speak the language fluently. To the best of my knowledge, this is not currently happening. We do not have young people being raised speaking the language, so this means we have to look at the other options. One option that is talked about is getting the language in schools. In order for this to be done effectively, and I mean to have any chance of any speakers being created, we have to have the following. We have to have fluent teachers supported by really good curriculum. If we don't have that, then we have to have semi-fluent speakers who are in the process of learning the language, again, several hours a day, being supported by fluent speakers, and who have really good curriculum. Having really good curriculum means we have to have full support for several different effective language teaching methods. We have to have lesson plans, or at the very least strong outlines for all of the grammar and structure of the language. We have to have thematic units for all of the areas students are likely to need. We have to have a fully supportive school with a group of students who as a group are dedicated to learning. It has to include preschool and kindergarten. We have to have teachers who are well trained, not just in classroom management, but in all of the structures of the language, in curriculum development, in teaching methods, and in curriculum development for those teaching methods. We don't have anything near any of this, and to do this would require taking teachers who've already been trained in teaching and giving them at least 3, 4, or 5 more years of directed study. We don't have the trained teachers, we don't have the curriculum, we don't have the elders to mentor those teachers. Developing this sort of a program would take at least a decade with constant, ongoing financial support, a strong supportive community base of parents and learners who support the process, and we would have to have teachers who would not be burnt out after years of getting closer to getting it right, but with no successful learners. It would also take new teachers coming up regularly who are also able to invest at a minimum several thousand hours of their own time, unpaid, towards learning the language. So I guess what I'm saying is this is not a solution that will solve our problems. It is a solution that is worth working towards, but it is not the most pressing need, because while we are working towards it, it is not going to be creating new speakers. And while it's not creating new speakers, all it is window dressing while we wait for our language to die. A lot of the other problems face the same challenges. Summer camps are great. There's really amazing summer camps being run out there, but we would have to have at least 2 or 3 fluent elders who are able to be at a summer camp, as well as dedicated support staff and semi-fluent speakers who knew both the language and a range of effective teaching methods and were practiced in them. And that's not something that can be just picked up overnight. It would take, again, at least a year of pretty serious training. And even the best learners would need a year solid of such camps to become speakers. In all seriousness, the best we would get from summer camps, from schools, from programs, from language classes, from community classes, the only thing we can get from these is a way to recruit interested learners who would then go and spend serious time with elders, with recordings, with other learners, as well as then going on to receive training in learning methods, teaching methods, and how to share the language. What we need right now is documentation. And I don't mean dictionaries and word lists or even grammars. We have dictionaries. We have the Turtle Mountain Dictionary. We have Norma's Dictionary. We have Nicole's Dictionary. And we do have grammatical sketches that cover most of the language. And by and large, we know that we have enough recordings that we can recover and describe all of the grammar that we are trying to learn. But what we don't have is the following. First, we need at least, and I say this at a minimum, we need at least 300 or 400 hours, 100 hours of recordings, preferably videos, of speakers speaking with each other for fun about different subjects, about as many different subjects as possible. And we need people to facilitate this. We need skilled people, skilled interviewers who are good at getting people to speak, getting people to ask, to talk about themselves, and have elders visit with each other. We need documentation of how to do different activities in Michif. And I don't mean how to dance or make bannock. I mean we need scripts for thousands of conversations, not a few dozen culturally relevant ones which have already been recorded in one way or another a couple hundred times before. I mean all different activities. In order to do this, we need at least several different people who can record and work with as many different elders as possible. I mean, I've worked with speakers from Turtle Mountain, from Camperville, from Brandon, from places in Saskatchewan, and the most important thing I can say is that while we all speak one language and all follow the same rules, we do speak it very differently and use different words, and we use different expressions even if they are in the same structure, and we use our words, even when we all understand each other's words, we say things differently, and we need hundreds more hours of recordings with all of them. In order to do this, we need training for these people and how to get the right kind of recordings that are truly useful for learners. We need all these recorders to be semi-fluent themselves so they can understand what is being said and how to ask questions to keep things going. We need others to then think through all of the conversations and situations they find themselves in their lives and literally write down the situations that they find themselves in, the things they might expect to hear in those situations, the things they might expect to say. We need them to script out conversations they have with family members, with friends, with authority figures, with people in school, and so that the people who are doing recording and elders can look at these situations and say, do we now know how we would use Michif in this situation? Or what are the ways that we would express ourselves in Michif if we found ourselves in this situation? We need people from every walk of life within our Métis Nation to be doing this, and we need it done soon. Realistically, we have only a handful of speakers that we can really work with, and their time with us is limited, as is, more importantly, their capacity and energy to be involved in the work we are doing. they can be gone very fast. Since arriving in Bella Coola 5 years ago to work with the Nukhalk language, out of 11 fluent speakers that I worked with, 10 of them have passed away. Every one of them a friend. And now I'm left working with one person, whereas 10 years ago there were 50 speakers. What I'm, to summarize what I'm saying, we need to do a lot more recordings. We need to do them soon, and we need a lot of people doing them, and we need them with elders together, and we need people training them how to do these recordings. We need people coordinating them. We need people who are helping other people collaborate the types of things they do in their life. A lot of this stuff, there are tools we can use that make it easier, but there's no shortcut, to really going out and doing this. We have, if we don't do this, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we will have no more elders who are able to share their time with us as people learn, and we will have no resources to go to learn how to use the language in a way that is similar to how they did it. We're going to find ourselves in a place where if we want Michif speakers, we're going to be sending our young people off to Cree communities to learn to speak Cree. Then we're going to be bringing them back and saying, here's a whole bunch of recordings of Michif. I want you to now learn Michif. We're literally going to have all of our learners learn an intermediate language before they go on to learn Michif. And it would be far better for us to actually have all of the resources to carry on our language in a way that is in any way similar to how it is used today. In addition to this, and the reason I emphasize this sort of stories back and forth, people talking to each other, is that we already know how to talk about activities. We already know how to talk about actions, about people, about things. What we don't know, what we don't have recorded, is the words we use to do them. To be blunt, I have a lot of words recorded about sex, and you can talk about sex, but I don't have recorded the things that people actually say during sex. We have lots of words about many types of historical activities. We have all the words about, describing buffalo hunts, describing the creation of different things, describing people's activities. We don't have word-by-word descriptions of the ways in which you would talk somebody through any of these actions. We have descriptions of battles. We don't have descriptions of what people said to each other. We have descriptions of, and I'm just using the most kind of historical, maybe sort of central types of situations, but there are thousands and thousands of other situations that we need. How to make a bed. I can describe how to make a bed, but we really need to have a piece of paper or a recording that says, describes what you're doing, then tells you what to do, then gives you what to practice in order to say what you're going to be doing. If you're trying to teach somebody how to make a bed. Normally I don't talk while I'm making my bed. Normally I don't make my bed. But, you know what? I'll stop there. I think I've said what I think needs to be said.